Welcome to Get to the Hook. I am your co-host, Charles Latibeaudiere.
And I'm your co-host, Eric Colley.
And this week we are talking free speech. It's been a big topic lately because of, what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. He's back on the air, so he's doing his free speech. There are some artists, some very popular artists, maybe you could say some of the greatest artists of all time, who have also faced bans that some people would say were a violation of their First Amendment rights, but
some definitely were. Definitely, politicians got involved sometimes.
Yeah, politics. Politicians tend to pay attention to songs that they think, especially when they become popular, and then they go, "Wait a second, that's not. We don't like that notion, that idea being out there." And then some songs actually do get banned. It doesn't happen as much now as it used to. I think
it's harder to ban it now because with streaming and the internet, it's so easy to listen to any song you want at any time.
Yeah.
When things were mostly controlled by record stores and radio especially, it was real easy to get in there and be like, stop this.
Right. We went through a whole, I know when we were growing up, there was a whole shutdown of certain artists, certain albums, like full albums would get slapped with that PMRC.
The parental advisory warning sticker. We're going to get to that.
Which they never understood, just made the song more appealing to kids. But anyway.
Well, if you saw that sticker, those black and white bars, you knew
you had to have it. Yeah.
We've got some classic songs to talk about, and there's a couple categories to how songs have been banned over the years. Let's look at the political ones. Not that the songs themselves or the artists are necessarily political, but these are ones
they touched on issues that certainly
whether they thought it was obscene or dangerous. These are songs that politicians got involved in.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start with one of the most famous cases, and this is so insane. The FBI got involved. There was a governor who got involved in this because people misunderstood the lyrics. And they just assumed there was something dirty.
That happens on almost every song. So.
Yeah, it's not even that they misinterpreted it. They couldn't understand it, and they thought, oh, this is profane and obscene. It turns out that it wasn't, or was it?
I mean, if anyone knows the actual lyrics to this song, kudos to you then.
Well, so we're talking about the song Louie Louie by the Kingsmen, a classic garage rock song from 1963 that the controversy propelled it to number 2 on the charts, which it got blocked at first by Dominique by the Singing Nun. So you have a literal actual nun blocking this song that people thought was just the most perverse, obscene song. It's not at all. The lyrics are about a sailor having a girlfriend somewhere over the ocean and missing her.
All right, you're going to have to break that down for me, but...
What?
Because I don't know where you're getting that from.
That's what the lyrics are?
No.
I
don't believe it.
So the thing is, that's what the controversy was about. So the Kingsmen were literally a garage band. They recorded the song in 1.5 takes. Not a lot of effort was put into this. They didn't think anything was going to come of it.
That seems accurate.
The lead singer, I read, had braces. It caused him to slur a little bit. And it's mumbled, and it is very, very hard to understand what he's saying. But when you look up the lyrics, it's just about the sailor and his girl and whatever. There's nothing obscene or there's not even innuendo to it. It's not dirty at all, but people thought it was. And long before the internet, the song went viral because teenagers around the country had a list of what the real lyrics were supposed to be. And they would pass it around.
That someone made up in class one day.
Absolutely. And so parents started finding out about this. In Indiana, Governor Matthew Welsh requested that the song be banned from the radio there. So the governor stepped in and was like, this is profane, and this is, just warping our children's brains, this song that's gibberish. The FBI got involved and launched a 31-month investigation. Over 2 years. All they had to do was look at the lyrics.
I can see someone in an FBI room with their headphones on with a reel-to-reel going, play it back again. No, what? Wait, go back.
Yeah, and there was no Google to look up lyrics back then. But so then eventually they got the lyric sheet and they're like, oh yeah, this is fine.
Can you please just give me a verse? I want to know at what point are they saying,
I don't know.
I can't make out a single word in this song other than Louie Louie.
Just look up the lyrics. It's once you know it and I can kind of hear it now. But the funniest thing about all this is the governor got involved, the FBI got involved. It's drug out for years, and they're like, this is obscene and filthy. And then they're like, oh, look at these lyrics. It's not. And they missed there is an F-bomb in the song. It's there. You can hear it. And nobody knew it. To this day, a lot of people don't know it's in the song.
So to this day, if they play this on the radio,
So while they're recording, when they're recording the song, like I said, they did it in 1.5 takes. They were not retakes and overdubs and all that kind of stuff. And Lynn Easton was the drummer for the Kingsmen. And we're going to play a part of the song here, and I want you to listen towards the end of it. After the lead singer stops, there's a little instrumental break.
Okay.
Lynn Easton messed up a drum fill that you can't really hear, and he just drops an F-bomb, and you hear it in the background of the track. So listen to the backing of this towards the end of this clip.
Wow, I've never ever heard this. Okay.
So this is that part from Louie Louie. You hear that little voice in the background there?
Yes.
So through the FBI, through 2.5 years of investigating this, everybody getting involved, teenagers thinking like, what is he saying? What is he saying? They so focused on the nothing in the song,
Right.
they missed the big giant thing right in the middle. And nobody ever caught
By
it.
the way, I still didn't understand anything other than Louie Louie.
Oh, we got to, he said actually, me got to go. They do some like Jamaican patois, which is maybe more offensive.
Oh, is that what that? Me got it? Oh, God.
Yeah. Well, so it was a cover. A guy named Richard Berry did it originally in the 50s. Then dozens of other bands recorded it. I think a Jamaican band did it, and they were covering that version. It kept getting like a copy of a copy of a copy. But yeah, once they were telling teenagers it was dirty, they had to have it. And the song became a massive hit because of it. And nobody noticed the actual profanity that was in the song because they were so busy listening to something that wasn't there.
I am going to go. This is one of those songs. I just never thought of it, but yes, I'm going to go look up the lyrics, and I'm going to hear it with a completely different set of ears.
It's and you realize what an innocuous song it is. I mean,
It's still a good party.
It's a great song. It's a great
party
song.
tune. Yeah.
Speaking of the government getting involved, you and I remember this pretty well. The late 80s,
Mm-hmm.
when hip-hop started really taking over the mainstream, the Two Live Crew, they dropped their album As Nasty As They Want to Be and its hit single, Me So Horny, which actually made the top 40, but they could not say the name of the song. They would just say, here's the Two Live Crew and their first hit. Fortunately, it didn't spend too long on the charts.
Yeah, I'm sure there were a lot of station managers like, please don't let this thing.
Oh, please don't play this. This became actually a real issue about censorship because the governor of Florida, a guy named Bob Martinez, and the Broward County Sheriff Nick Navarro got involved in this and started arresting record store owners who sold the album because it was obscene. Members of the Two Live Crew got arrested for performing it. They would come off stage and Nick Navarro arrested them. And it became a huge deal about their freedom of expression. Is it obscene? Is it
their First Amendment right?
It's their First Amendment right. And they were getting arrested for this. And they very smartly took all of that controversy and channeled it into their next album called Banned in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
And they got Bruce Springsteen's permission to sample Born in the USA. And it became their biggest hit. This was a top 20 hit.
How subversive of Springsteen.
I know. He specifically said, yes, you can use my song because he believed in what they were doing.
Right.
So this was Two Live Crew and Banned in the USA.
So listen up, y'all, to what we say. We won't be banned in the USA.
I like this song.
Yeah. And but the video was really interesting also, just the imagery.
They used imagery of the Klan and censorship and all kinds of things to kind of just say, like, this is crap.
Yeah.
And they made it, also like a
They were
race
trying
issue.
to make the point of what the First Amendment is supposed to be about, right?
Right.
That even things that you vehemently disagree with, like the Klan, which that's the reason they're showing Klan imagery. They're showing Confederacy, the Confederate flag in this, because they're saying even if you disagree with that, they have the right to display that.
But that album was so dirty.
Yeah.
I remember when As Nasty As They Want to Be came out, my brother's 5 years older than me, and I was like a young kid. And I remember going somewhere with him. He was driving, and he put the tape in the tape deck, and he thought he was going to be all cool playing it. It got 2 verses in, and he got so embarrassed, he popped it out and tossed it in the back seat. He was like, don't tell Mom I played
He's
that.
like, never mind, never
And I
happened.
still remember, I was like, when it came out, I was like, what did he just say?
People learned a lot about, human reproductive systems.
And yeah, how babies are made. I already knew that. But
Sure
fortunately
you did.
for the Two Live Crew, very shortly after that, another rapper went metal and caused even more controversy.
Ooh.
Ice-T started a metal group called Body Count. 1992 released a song called Cop Killer that wouldn't go over well now. It didn't go over well then. The people who denounced it, the president at the time, George H.W. Bush, W's dad, several senators, police associations, they all called on boycotts of Warner Brother Records. This is a scary part. In North Carolina, a record store was told by local police there they would not respond to any calls from that store unless they pulled the album off the shelves. You can't do that. I certainly understand police being offended by that, but you can't say we won't do our job and won't protect you if you don't get this album out.
Totally understand police being being offended by that,
Of course, they
finding
should
it
have been.
dangerous. All that is true.
But that's real scary when you just say,
It's
we don't like
really
this,
scary when
and
they
you
say
do what
we're
we
not-
want, or we won't respond to any emergencies for you.
Yeah.
Eventually, after all of this, Ice-T himself decided to pull the song off the record, and it got just erased from record store shelves.
Yeah.
And then, ironically, Ice-T has played a cop on TV
He's
for
good.
25 years now.
And then Ice-T goes on
He's been on
to
Law
have
and Order. So
Law and Order for 20-something years. Like,
yeah. And usually, these stories you see with the politicians, you think it's all like conservatives who are offended by stuff. This is a bipartisan kind of thing.
yeah, it really was
Well, everybody was offended by
it's
that.
a tough one.
But in 1968, Chicago Mayor Richard Daley, very famous mayor of Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
1968 was a hell of a year.
It was
That was Bobby Kennedy assassinated,
intense year
MLK, the
in the
Democratic
Chicago
National
riots.
Convention that year, because Lyndon Johnson announced he was not going to run for president. The DNC that year, riots break out between Vietnam protesters and police. It was a mess, big riot. A week or two after that, the Rolling Stones dropped a new single called Street Fighting Man. Richard Daley said nope, and he says he did not ban it because that would be violating some First Amendment laws. He just said he strongly, encouraged radio stations not to play the song because he was afraid it was
because
going
of
to
what?
cause.
Right.
And the song, I mean, maybe, I don't know, but this is Street Fighting Man.
No place for street fighting man. No.
And Mick Jagger, about the song, and after that controversy, Mick Jagger said, of course it's subversive. I mean, of course it is. He goes, but it's stupid to think you can start a revolution with a record. I wish you could. But that one, a lot of these songs we're going to talk about became huge hits because of the controversy. Like, it worked for the Two Live Crew, it worked for the Kingsmen. That song stalled at number 48 because a lot of people were like, we're not going to play that.
Yeah.
This is not the mood.
It
This
was
is not
just
the time.
not the time. It's interesting that, I mean, they didn't release the song because of,
No.
I mean,
It was already coming out anyway. I mean,
Right.
it literally, I think it was like a week or two later it dropped. It was just weird timing.
but also there had been, political upheaval before the Chicago riots. So I don't know what they were specifically writing, and maybe it wasn't about any specific
Part of it was
incident.
Vietnam. I think it
Yeah.
was just the mood. Like, and it's so weird. Harvey, our boss, has talked about how 1968, what a year that was, and he thought at the time there would never be another year like that. Until
here we are.
2025, he's like, well, we're kind of back there again. So that might have seemed ridiculous a few years ago, but it seems much more relatable now.
Absolutely.
That just the mood of the country is tense.
Mm-hmm.
Bad things are happening, and yeah, you don't want to throw a lit match into that.
You
Even if
don't,
it's just a rock song.
But it's just a rock song also. Like,
It is. It's not even one of the Stones' best songs. Mick's like, it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like,
it's
they
fine.
don't always play it when they're
No.
on tour. It's not like a guarantee you're going to hear that song.
Yeah.
So
This next act got in trouble for playing a song on tour. It wasn't the song itself. It was what they said during the concert. And this is tied to a politician, but it's not directly the politician's fault. 2003.
okay.
The Chicks, then known as the Dixie
Oh,
Chicks, one of the biggest acts in country. They had, I think, 15 top 10 country hits between 1998 and early 2003. Their current single at the time, it was this song, a really nice song. It's called Traveling Soldier.
Too young, but then they told her, waiting for the love of a traveling soldier.
That song goes to number 1 on the country chart, as a lot of Dixie Chick songs had at that point. And then while they're in London in early 2003, Natalie Maines, lead singer, told the audience there, just so you know, we're ashamed the president of the United States is from Texas, in reference to George W. Bush.
Right.
And people found out about that. And this is how immediate the backlash was. So the week that happened, Traveling Soldier had dropped from number 1 to number 3 on the country chart, which was completely controlled by radio airplay
Right.
at that point. The week after, it was completely off the chart.
From 3 to off the
chart.
charts.
And they had 15 top 10 hits in 5 years. They have never been back to the top 10 on the country charts. That was it.
So clearly the immediate reaction was just radio stopped playing it. So
But fans were
but
burning
fans
the records,
were burning. That was a
driving over
huge-
them. Like, there was outrage.
Yeah.
Because that was their base mostly.
Yeah.
And they really pissed them off.
Yeah, this is a country. You're a country artist, the biggest country artist at that point. You can't mess with Texas.
You cannot.
Yeah, and the rest of country fans around the country will come along, but that was a look. They stood on what they believed in, right? They
And it
said
worked
it.
out for them in a different way. 3 years later, they released the song "Not Ready to Make Nice," saying, "We're not going to back down on this." It was a top 5 hit on the pop chart, won them a Grammy, and established they can tour and have an audience, but it's just not the one mostly that they had for those first
Different
5 years.
audience. Yeah.
Little different audience, but yeah, people were very unhappy with him, and to this day, still, country radio.
Yeah, they're
probably
not the
won't-
same.
They might play some of their songs now, just as oldies.
Probably not that one.
Not that one, that song has nothing to do.
No,
It's
nothing at all.
honestly, it's about a soldier who died in Vietnam. Like
Yeah.
it's a good song.
Right.
But, so those are all like political controversies. Of course, the reason a lot of songs get banned is because they're just dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can't get too dirty. Can't get too dirty. We don't like that in America. We're very, very sensitive about
yeah,
sexuality.
and again, saying this is
Supposed to talk about it.
bipartisan. Al Gore's wife, Tipper Gore,
Oh, yes.
in the 80s, her young daughter.
Probably the first time that I was like, oh, vice presidents' wives are also
Well, she wasn't
like.
vice president's wife then. He was a senator.
She was. Oh, that's
80
right, a senator.
yeah,
That's
he,
right.
He was not vice
before.
president yet. This was in the mid 80s. But one of the most popular albums at that time, of course, was Purple Rain, that we've talked about a lot.
Mhm.
And Tipper Gore, her daughter, had a copy of Purple Rain, and she happened to walk in the room as her daughter
Had
was
to
playing.
be at the end of side A.
Yeah,
right?
as the song Darling Nikki, particularly the first line in the song, just sent her into a real tizzy. This is the opening line of Darling Nikki.
Knew a girl named Nikki, I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. I met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating with a magazine.
I can just imagine Tipper
That's
Gore, like,
enough. That-
did he say sex fiend? Did he say masturbating?
You could see
can't
her
say
head
that.
exploding.
And so
Um,
the Washington wives all got together and started the PMRC, the Parent Music Resource Center, and they released their list of the Filthy 15, the 15 songs that just showed the degeneracy of these musicians, corrupting the impressionable minds of the youth of America. Prince's Darling Nikki was on there. A lot of things you would kind of expect. It was for sexual explicitness and for violent or satanic material, which in the 80s was a big thing.
Yeah.
So Motley Crue was on the list, AC/DC, Judas Priest. All right, I get that. Madonna was on the list.
well,
And you think, okay, for her song Dress You Up,
not for.
Not Like a Virgin. And this was years before erotica and all that. This was gonna dress you up in my love all over, all over. That was the chorus, and they're like, that's dirty. And
What?
you know who else made
Wait,
the list?
hold on. That's the Madonna song that's on there?
Dress
I
You Up is on the
always
Filthy 15.
assumed that it had to be
Like a Virgin.
like a virgin or
No, that would make much more sense.
or even like a prayer.
Well, that was
But
before
that
Like a
was
Virgin came
after-
out. Even Material Girl, you could say, is about crass commercialism and whatever. If you're reaching, but Dress You Up is pretty.
That feels to me like this was just we need Madonna to be on this list somewhere
Yeah.
because she's that big.
I think that was her current single at the time. So they were like, put that on there. Also, Cyndi Lauper made the list
Well,
because of
okay.
her song She Bop,
Which, by the
is
way, I don't
about
think
women
anybody.
masturbating.
Yeah, but when you listen to the song, like, there's nothing inherent in the song that it's not. If you don't know that
You
that's
don't.
what the song
As a
is
kid, I
about,
never knew what that song was about.
No,
But when I
it's
learned
like-
years later, I was like, really? And then you listen to it, and of course,
Then
it
it
is.
makes
It's
sense
not
once you
subtle,
know.
really, but it's couched in a way that if you don't know what it is, you're not going to figure it out.
you never know.
No, it's just a catchy song. He bop, she bop, we bop. It's like that's fun. And then you're like,
Oh, bopping.
I see
Oh,
what
yes.
I see what that is.
And let's be honest. I mean, he bop and she do bop and everybody bop. So let's just bop. And
Everybody
it's a big
bops.
deal.
Some of the people who came out during the congressional hearings about this, because it went to Congress, that spoke out against it. Frank Zappa spoke out against it, said it was censorship. Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, and John Denver. John Denver came and
John
said this is
Denver.
wrong, and I thought like, what?
Because
I mean, I
John
understand
Denver
him
would
being against
never be
censorship.
right, but John Denver would never be a guy that they certainly weren't attacking his
He
songs.
was. He said he was. He
which
goes
John Denver song?
often, and like Louie, he goes a lot of the time. It's just misunderstanding. People see things that aren't there, like my song "Rocky Mountain High." People always joke that song
Was
about
about
drugs and getting high. It's really not.
It's not
It's
at
one of those
all.
times where it seems so obvious. You're
It's
like,
just
"Of
about
course it is."
nature.
It's really not. And John Denver's like, would my record have been banned because of that? And you don't even know what you're talking about.
Wow.
So I always, you know what, respect to John Denver.
Shout out John Denver. One of my favorites. The thing about, and I always wondered this about Darling Nikki, because the opening line is so
In your face.
bombastic and in your face, and clearly, I get that Tipper Gore lost her mind.
And it's not unfair in her defense.
Do you think she ever got to the end of the song, which would have really flipped her out?
I'd
The backwards
assume so.
messages?
Well, but the backwards message is about
Is it-
Jesus.
The backward message is certainly not satanic.
It's like gospel. It's like the Lord is coming soon, and
but when you hear it in reverse, the way it
it
plays,
sounds, especially at that
but
time.
everything,
they
I
were worried
guess, when
about
you
that.
play it in reverse sounds, I guess people would say satanic.
But that was what the whole thing about backmasking when you used to play records backward and find messages is you can kind of hear whatever you want.
I'm going to tell you, when I was playing the album and
Trying to play it backwards to hear
and my
it?
mom was listening. Like I was in the living room and she was hearing it somewhere else in the house, and it was fine. She didn't even say anything when it played forward and you could hear the backwards message.
Yeah.
When I slowed it down, when I stopped it and started going backwards with it
Yeah.
on the turntable, then she lost her mind. She's like, "What are you doing?" Like, I think that the act of actually playing it in reverse was what she thought was satanic. And she was like, no, we're not doing that in my house.
But, well, every parent was afraid of that then. And like I said, to Tipper Gore and the Washington wives, it's not unfair for parents to want to know what their kids are listening to.
Certainly.
And so putting the parental advisory sticker on it was, I get why people thought it was censorship, and it became a voluntary thing. You didn't have to put it on there. But
I think a lot of record labels also realized if they put it on there,
kids would buy it.
kids will buy it,
You know
and
what
they'll
the
just
first
hide
album
it
to
from
get
their
it was?
parents. Was it Twisted Sister?
No, it was a couple years. It took a few years to get it in. It was Two Live Crew's
Oh.
Band in the USA,
Huh.
the follow-up to As Nasty as They Want to Be. They were the first beneficiaries of that. People, you said like it doesn't happen as much anymore. It's harder to ban songs, but people still definitely get into an uproar. And we saw this just a few years ago with one of the most cartoonishly sexually explicit songs ever. In 2020, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion with this song, WAP.
I said certified free, 7 days a week. Wet and gushy, make that pull-out game weak.
That's the cleanest part of the song.
The cleanest part of the song I could get. The funniest thing is, so the people who were offended, there were a lot of conservative commentators and podcasters and politicians and just people in general were offended by that song.
You can't use the word pussy without thinking people are going to be offended. And then you put those adjectives in front of it.
Bring a mop and bucket, she says. But you know, my favorite part is, you know who else got really offended by that song? Carol Baskin from Tiger King infamy. Because Carol Baskin and PETA both were upset that there are tigers in the video. They said that they should, I think they were like, PETA was like, we approve of the female empowerment and all that, but you don't need to bring the big cats into it.
Come on, Carol.
It was
It's
just
a double entendre. Just like
Cardi B kind of hit back after Carol Baskin said she shouldn't be using those big cats. Cardi B's like, shut up. Didn't you kill your husband? Basically. That was Cardi saying that, not us, by the way, speaking of getting banned. So, I mean, Cardi B says what she wants to say.
I get that song. There was a quote unquote clean version that was played on the radio, and even that had a bunch of stuff
80%
bleeped
just
out.
silence.
Right. But I get that. You can't play that in its entirety. There are some decency rules that we got to.
But again, number one for 4 weeks, because when you tell kids you can't listen to this, they're going to listen to it.
Yes, indeed. That song is unique.
It's
unique.
It's kind of nice to see that people can still be offended. Honestly, it seems like we're so desensitized to everything. It's like, oh, we can still be shocked.
Just to let you guys in on on our TV shows, we can't even say WAP.
Oh yeah, we can't saying what it stands for. We can't say the word WAP
because you can't say it because everyone knows this is what the censors have told us. You can't say it because everyone knows what the letters stand for, and therefore you can't say WAP.
We are not allowed to say the name of the song.
So we're just really
the initials.
We're getting it in here because we can say WAP.
WAP,
here.
WAP, 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 WAP.
Right. So everywhere else in the building, we are banned from saying WAP.
But the funny thing is, I think neither one of us wants to say what it stands for because it's still like.
I already said pussy.
No, you didn't say the whole thing.
Well, I didn't say the whole thing.
See?
My mom might be listening. I'm already probably going to get a strong talking to
That's
for
right.
using the.
Okay, well, we'll move past the sexually explicit stuff. There are some songs that got banned just because of the taboo nature of what they're talking about. It broached subjects that people just didn't want to have those conversations, and these songs still retain their power. I love going back in history for these songs sometimes.
Yes.
We're going back to the 1930s.
Where I get to learn. Oh, I'm definitely going to learn something.
You know this song.
I know which one.
You do know this song,
Yes.
and it is a song that, it came out in 1939, and that's when it was banned. So that's, 86 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Am I doing my math right there? So almost 90 years old, this song. And it is still, I think, just as powerful today as it was then. It is just as uncomfortable to listen to, and it is still just as amazing as it ever was. This is Billie Holiday and her song, Strange Fruit.
Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze.
A Ukrainian Jewish guy from New York named Abel Mirapol actually wrote the lyrics to that song. He wrote it as a poem first called Bitter Fruit. after seeing a photo of the lynching of Thomas Shipp and Abram Smith in Indiana in 1930. And there's a photo of these two black men hanging off this tree and a crowd of white people just kind of having a picnic and hanging out and chilling because it was just a social event. And he was so disturbed and disgusted by it. He wrote this poem, then set it to music. And Billie Holiday, who I think a lot of people know her name, but they don't know a lot about her.
Right.
Her phrasing, the way she would sing, Amy Winehouse was influenced by that. You hear it today. People like Tate McRae even try and do that phrasing of Billie Holiday. She was such an innovator and a legend. She's like, I have to release this song. And the banning began before it even came out. Her record, Columbia, was like, no, we're not going to put this out. But they were impressed, I think, by how passionate she was about it. They gave her permission to do a one-off single on another label, a small label called Commodore, put it out. Radio, of course, was not going to touch that. Still wouldn't play it. It sold 1 million copies. In 1999, Time magazine named it the greatest song of the 20th century. It was in the top 30 of Rolling Stone's best songs of all time.
And she, by the way, you know, the label didn't want to put it, on their ledger, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why they had this other label do it.
Columbia's like, nobody in the South is going to play this.
And by the way, she was so passionate about it. Like, she also wasn't supposed to perform it live. A lot of cities she went to said, if you play that song, you're getting arrested. And she would perform it.
Did it. And there are people who would go see her, fans of hers. I mean, obviously, if you're going to see her in concert, they weren't there to protest. They would walk out during that song. And I think, not even out of anger, I think people just were so uncomfortable hearing it. And she would make a point of performing it, just her in a spotlight. And that voice, I can't imagine hearing Billie Holiday live at all. But yeah, that song is, it's still, partly because of how good her voice is. And like I said, it sounds almost more current now than it would have 40 or 50 years ago because so many people are influenced by her and now Amy Winehouse through that it has lost none of its power. And you know that's a good song when you can be shocking and amazing almost 90 years later.
And also sad that it's still the pain of it. It's credit to the lyrics and to her performance, but the pain still comes through, even though, thank God, we are far beyond that and things are much better. But the pain is still
and it wasn't
relevant.
that long ago.
It
I mean,
really
not really.
No.
There are people alive now who were alive then. They're very old now, but it's not like we're hundreds of years.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The song, what you said, was written in 30.
I think he wrote it in 37. It was based on a photo that was taken in 1930. Is when the lynching happened.
And
particular one.
Think about it. 20 years after that, there were still lynchings were common. 20 years
I've
after
seen people say that song kind of helped the early kickstart of the civil rights movement. It took decades.
Yeah.
But I think that song shocked a lot of people. And if you don't know it, you should listen to it. It's an amazing song. It's just, I mean, it's a good song objectively.
Yes.
But it has, like I said, it's lost none of its power in almost 9 decades. Another artist who decided to be controversial in the 70s, Loretta Lynn, queen of country.
Yes.
Loretta, 1975. And you got to put in context here. This was 2 years after Roe versus Wade. Loretta Lynn had 6 children. She had 4 of them by the time she was 20. So she had 4 kids as a teenager, then 2 more. She was done having babies, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And so 1975, she got banned hard by country radio for this song called The Pill.
Oh, Daddy, don't you worry now, 'cause Mama's got the pill.
Basically, like, I got the birth control pill.
Celebrating
I'm going to have my fun now.
Right.
I don't even have
Celebrating
kids
it.
every year.
Oh, yeah. You can't do that, Loretta. How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
It still got to number
that
5 on the
was-
country chart, which sounds like a big hit, but she was almost guaranteed number 1 hits at that point. She was just printing hits like.
Isn't it weird? Like, I think people today would be shocked at how controversial that song was
But
in the early 70s.
Probably would be more now than it has since then. I mean, Roe versus Wade has been overturned.
Yeah.
Countries moved back to that point.
But the pill, just as birth control, is still so prevalent, and it's not, even though there are people still debating, like you said, Roe versus Wade, but
there are people who want contraception.
I know
too.
there are people who want that gone, but it's just so commonplace now.
Yeah, but in the mid-'70s, for a country
was
artist,
still-
the biggest country artist at that time to do it was a big deal. And it's, like I said, it was one of her, number 5 was kind of a flop for her on the country charts, but it crossed over to number 70 on the pop charts and was her biggest crossover hit. So, different audiences.
Yeah, I guess it goes to show her power and success at that point that she was like, screw you, I'm doing this song.
Yeah, she did what she wanted to do, and she
Yeah.
was actually a pretty conservative person herself.
Right.
But I mean, the
And
woman
when
had
you
6
have-
kids,
when
you
you-
have 4 by the time you're 20.
That changes you, man. It just changes you in a lot of ways.
It changes you in a lot of ways. You're like, you know what? Let's get those pills. Some songs got banned. As we moved into the 80s, there was a whole new thing, music videos.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, and you could get banned with a video. It happened to a song in the UK. And as actually doing this episode, I realized I have had the lyrics to this song wrong for 40 years.
I guarantee I've had the. I know as I'm singing along to the song that I don't have it right.
I'm talking about the chorus. I thought so. The song we're talking about is "Relax" by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and it got banned in the UK by the BBC, which of course sent it to #1 for 5 weeks because partly the lyrics, partly the original music video. Because I always knew the video got banned as a kid, but the one that MTV played over here was just like a concert performance. I'm like, what is so shocking about this? It's the original video where Holly Johnson, the lead singer of Frankie Goes to Hollywood, goes into like an S&M gay leather bar. And that was just shocking enough probably for the early 80s. And it's not, there's no nudity or anything, but it gets real weird. There's like this overweight Roman emperor guy getting shaved by a drag queen who then takes that off and he's wearing a leather thong. Holly Johnson
little
wrestles a
Caligula,
tiger
if you
cub
will.
at some point, and then he's riding guys around with his tie around their neck. It got real weird. But the lyrics also was always kind of more than a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The chorus is
Yes.
relax, don't do it when you want to come. There's only so many ways you could take that.
Right.
This is where I found out I had the line.
By the way,
before
you
that
had no
wrong.
problem saying that lyric, but he wouldn't say the P word earlier. Like,
It's
what
not-
the?
What? That's not.
Uh,
no.
where's the-
When you want to come to a party or something.
Okay.
But I always thought the line before it. Maybe you knew this. I thought it always said, "Relax, don't do it when you want to sock it to it." I always thought that's what he said there.
Relax on it.
When you want to sock it to it. That's what I thought it was.
I thought it was that also.
Apparently, and this is partly what the
Wait,
BBC was outraged about.
Play it again. Are we going to play
We're going to
that
play
part?
this part.
Let me see if I can figure out what it is.
I don't know that you can. This is relax.
Relax, don't do it when you wanna suck it to it. Relax, don't do it when you wanna come.
When you want to sucker? Is it sucker?
You want me to tell you? And
Yeah.
honestly, even
It's gotta be-
as an innuendo, I don't. This
You
doesn't.
wanna
It makes no sense
sucker.
to me because relax, don't do it. When you want to suck it, chew it. What does that even mean?
No,
Who wants that?
Play that again. Play that again. Play that again. No way.
When you want to suck it, chew it.
Relax, don't do it when you wanna suck it to it. Relax, don't do it when you wanna come.
I never knew that.
Now I'm more lost. I don't know.
I don't even.
What the
I don't
hell
really
they
know
were-
what that means. I mean, you can make it obviously easily pretty dirty, but what? That sounds really unpleasant.
Don't encourage anyone to chew it. Okay.
Yeah, but it worked out for them. Madonna, remember "Justify My Love"? That video, MTV
Yes.
refused to air it because there was some nudity in it. It was very sexually explicit.
I always felt like she made it that she wanted it
She
to be
did.
banned.
I don't know if she did that on purpose. She knew they weren't going to play that video. But then she released it as a video cassette single, which nobody had ever done before. I mean, I'm sorry, video single. Sold over 1 million copies worldwide. She's like, MTV won't play it. They don't want you to see it. How about you go buy it? It was
Mhm.
$10 for one music video on VHS in the early 90s. And she sold 1 million copies. Brilliant. The woman's a genius. Okay, we're going to get some more quick ones here. There's one list. I didn't even cut any sound bites. I started, and these still just sound so inappropriate. There are some songs that the songs themselves, there's nothing wrong with them. They got banned or just temporarily pulled off the radio because of things that happened in the world. And suddenly those songs, nobody wanted to hear them anymore.
Okay.
Famously, after September 11th, Clear Channel, which became iHeart and owns most of the radio stations in the country, released a list of about 150 songs. And they weren't saying that these are banned. They were like, we encourage you not to play any of these songs.
Right.
Bodies by Drowning Pool, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. Nobody wanted to hear that song. Leaving on a Jet Plane by Peter, Paul, and Mary. I mean, such an innocent song,
Right.
but nobody wanted to
Right.
hear it. Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles. They just thought, nothing Middle East right now. You got to remember what that time
Okay.
was like.
Yeah. Okay. That
Everybody
one-
was upset.
The
about
first
everything.
two I totally get. Walk like Egyptian. Okay.
They were just trying to avoid everything. Nobody, and
Right.
I get, nobody wanted to hear those songs in that moment. One
Yeah.
that-
I mean, it wasn't the mood. That's for sure.
One song that you wouldn't even think of, and I remember when this happened, it was a song that was doing well in the charts, radio was playing it, and then it lost half of its radio play within like a week. You remember the song Die Young by Kesha?
Yes.
A big dance pop hit
Mhm.
like every other Kesha song in the early 2010s. Catchy song. And I said, I cut a soundbite for this, and then I realized it does not sound good to play it in this context. As it was peaking on radio, Sandy Hook happened.
Oh God.
And
Yes, I
nobody
do
wanted to hear
remember this.
Kesha saying, "We're gonna die
do
young." It
remember
just
this.
became
Yeah.
so painful, and it's weird. I mean, obviously, it has nothing to do with Kesha.
I do
But-
remember the ban or the suggestion.
Well, it wasn't even a
And it-
ban in that sense. It was
yeah.
just, nobody wants to hear that right now. It got real weird.
Yeah.
A song that happened to that caused it to drop off the charts completely happened in the 60s, and it's a song that was already a little controversial because some people thought it was making fun of mental illness, and so they were worried about it getting banned, but it became a huge hit. It was a novelty song by a one-hit wonder, called himself Napoleon the 14th, had a song called They're Coming to Take Me Away, haha, about a guy who's, it sounds like he's talking about a lover. At the end, he kind of says the ASPCA needs to get you, you mangy mutt. So he's trying to say, no, it was about a dog, not a girlfriend. But the guy goes crazy and wants the men from the funny farm to come take him. This is what it sounded like.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds.
I mean, it's a weird song.
It's a very weird song, and I
But-
did always think it was just about a guy like going mentally ill.
Yeah, and it was played as a joke, and they were worried, like, or even in the 60s, they were sensitive enough to think, are we making fun of mental illness and this guy being crazy? So I'm going to tell you what its chart run was, and then tell you what happened in the middle of that. Because you'll see, debuted at number 50 in 1966, that summer. Its chart movement was 50, 11, 5, 3, clearly going to number 1, then dips back to 5, falls to 37, drops off the chart. What happened?
What was going on at that time?
Mass murderer Richard Speck broke into a nursing student dorm in Chicago and murdered 8 women. And
Oh my God.
people were like, this isn't funny now. They got really, like, the song
Yeah.
became like, you're making fun of this
Right.
crazy man who broke in. And I'm not even going to get into the details of what happened with that. If you're into true crime, we're not a true crime podcast,
Right.
but it's horrific what happened and what he did. And that happened in July of 66. By early August, Napoleon the 14th was off the charts
Off
completely.
the charts.
People were like, nope, we don't, this is what we were afraid this song was going to,
Right.
it was making fun of this. This has happened. We don't want to hear it.
Not to say that Richard Speck was in any way inspired by this
Of course
song,
not.
but
Of course he wasn't. He
right.
he was clearly, he was an evil person and mentally disturbed, and people just thought, the joke of this song isn't funny.
Yeah.
And it was off the chart in 2 weeks from number 3.
You don't even hear that song played that much anymore.
Because it's a
Probably
weird
for that.
song.
It's a very weird song.
Even as novelty songs go, that one's a weird one. The B-side was just the song played in reverse.
What year did that come out?
66. Yeah, it was the
I
summer of
always,
66.
in my head, I know it's not on the soundtrack. I always attach it to A Clockwork Orange.
Because it sounds manic.
Because it
and
sounds like it
insane.
should have been from that movie.
Right. I mean, the song makes you feel a little crazy listening to it. The sirens start coming in and
Yeah.
his voice starts, they did this like pitch shift thing to make his voice get higher and warbly.
Yep.
You feel like you're going insane listening to it. It's, ugh. All right, and one really funny one, I think this is interesting. The only instrumental song we've talked about today. How does an instrumental song get banned for being
What is
offensive?
some I mean, what instruments
And
are they
this
playing?
goes
that-
back to wrapping it back to the Kingsmen. People hear what they want to hear. This is back to 1958. 1958, there was a guitarist, an instrumental guitarist named Link Ray, had a band. It was Link Ray and his Ray Men.
Mm-hmm.
He released a song called Rumble. It's an instrumental. It's a really cool song. And as a lot of guitarists did at that time, he took a pencil and poked his amp to get this sort of distortion sound. So it has kind of a heavy riff. And because of the sound of it, and because the song was called Rumble, which was a gang term, radio became
my-
terrified the song
Oh my
was going to
God.
incite kids. Just the music, the aggressive music, and the name Rumble was going to make kids get into gang fights.
All right, let's see if it does. I mean,
This is-
I'm ready to. I'll
It's
ready
a
to
great
throw
song.
down.
This is Link Ray's Rumble. Can't you just see those delinquents in 1958 with their greaser pompadours and their switchblades? Just
The switchblades out.
I don't know. I think Rumble, I picture like West Side Story. I just figure they're all just snapping in the streets dancing. I don't know. Doesn't seem that scary.
They're like
now.
Johnny Boys standing over on one side, and there's I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But props to Link Ray for getting banned from the radio with an instrumental song just because it was too scary sounding.
What the hell were they thinking in 1950?
I don't know. But it makes you
They were
see
thinking a
people
lot
have
of
always
things.
been ridiculous.
Yeah, they've been ridiculous. There have certainly been times where some things, some imagery,
Sure.
some
Some of
lyrics-
these were very justified, I think. Some of these are just
but
dumb.
most of them
Yeah.
just dumb.
At
At
least
least we can
want
laugh.
to listen
At
to.
least we can laugh about it now. We didn't at the time.
Yeah, no, which makes you wonder what we'll laugh about years from now.
Indeed. Shout out to darling Nikki, wherever she is.
She's in a hotel lobby. We know where she is.
That's right. Of course, she's still in that. Still? Wow.
Once a freak, always a freak.
That is gonna do it for us. We'll see you next time on Get to the Hook.